Hey everybody, we're back, and our next guest is it's really cool. This guy is a comedian and a producer whose Good Karma Festival is happening all week long, starting on Monday, all week long. He's got some really great comedians. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Frank Vignola. Frank, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you, Don, for having me on. This is awesome. I'm really looking forward to this.
Hey, we're very happy to have you on, and I love what you're doing. You're keeping comedy going and keeping it alive. We have this the Good Karma. Love the name. Tell me a little bit about this festival and what we could expect.
Long story short, which is tough for a comic, right? We have all of us. There's a lot of working comics out of there. There's a lot of people, that have really been doing nothing but remote shows for the past 3 months. Effectively, if you're a working artist, you've been laid off since the middle of March. And that hasn't changed. But the one thing that has done is kind of opened up this whole thing with all these remote shows and all these virtual shows and the Zoom shows and all that kind of stuff. Everybody's been doing a lot of those. A couple of weeks ago, it just dawned on me, why not do a festival? Why not do a whole festival? Because they're all remote shows, it's not live, so everything could be set up via the computer. People from all over the country can participate. So I just went with that idea and decided, I came up with the name Good Karma because I think it's a time where everybody just needs to relax and have fun and be involved in efforts that are low impact aerobics, just, as inclusive and as tolerant and as safe and as community minded as possible. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I've been doing these shows. A lot of comics have been doing these shows. I'll do the remote festival. Come August, that will be good for the community just to have something like that that's that big. And then it would also be good for civilians. And when I say civilians, I mean people that aren't comics, basically. So I hope nobody's offended by that term. But when I say civilian, that's what I mean.
It's the audience. We need the audience. We need the civilians.
Right, we do. So I was thinking to myself, and plus they're looking for new stuff to watch. They're running out of stuff to watch. Plus, as you know from governors, and as I know from being in this business as long as I have, there are an incredible amount of really talented comics, not even just up and coming, also like folks that are in the industry that you may not know their name, but they're full-time and they're good at their true pros.
Right.
So I just thought to myself, it just seemed like the perfect silver lining the perfect silver lining for the storm, so to speak. Let's put together this festival, involve as many comics as I can, make it free, not say no to anybody. There were people that I didn't know who submitted, and I said, could you send me a tape so I see what you do? But I didn't say no to anybody. Right, I was just trying to figure out, what show they might fit best with or that sort of thing. Include everybody, make it about the art, make it about the fun, and then let them know, tell everybody because this is going to be free of charge, and this is we're gonna want an audience to be in front of, and they can participate as much or as little as they want, because as you know with Zoom shows, somebody can watch the show and have their camera on and their mic on like we have right now.
Right.
Somebody also, and I don't necessarily advise doing this, but somebody can also have their video off and their mic off, and it's just a black screen with their name on it, and have it playing in the background the way people listen to SportsCenter, or the way we used to listen to MTV when we were kids.
Right.
You know? So you can participate as much or as little as you want.
So is that how it works? Everybody kind of comes in on the Zoom, so the audience and the comedians are all on the same Zoom. So it's not like so that's cool. So the audience is there with the comedian, and you control. So what about like laughter and stuff like that? Are you gonna keep the audience muted, or are you gonna let them? Because that could lead to all kinds of distractions, I would assume, if you could hear. I don't know. I think this is pretty cool that you have the audience with the comic on the Zoom.
Yeah, so let's say right now you and I were doing one. We would have probably 8 comics on the show, so there would be 6 other comics in boxes just like that. Then how many ever people, whether it's 5 or whether it's 95, would also all be on the same call. And I encourage people to leave their mic and their picture on, so comics can see them responding. A lot of people don't want to. What we do have is a show monitor. I always have somebody who is kind of watching the Zoom that I've listed as a co-host, because if somebody Zoom bombs, you can always, as a co-host, kill their mic or kill their picture.
Right.
So there's kind of security, quote unquote, in the room.
Right.
And that stops with that.
I think that it's good for the comedian everyone to be in the Zoom. So the comic, he actually has an audience he can see that he's performing to. So I think that's cool. So what are some of the pros and cons do you think of doing something like this? It seems like all good as far as I can tell.
The only con of any of it is it's not live. And so that the only con is, some people, I think there's a lot of saturation now. I think a lot of people are doing Zoom shows. So there's a little bit of a con there. So how does, even though you're doing a festival, even though you got some big names, how's it any different? Right. So there's a little bit of a con there. And I think just as an art form, it's slightly different to do a Zoom. It's not slightly different. It's different to do a Zoom show than a live show. So whatever you find deficient in that's kind of a con, right? Like we'd all rather be going to a live show. Although John Fugelsang was saying that he thought this was interesting because he thought that this whole Zoom thing was going to enforce a new discipline amongst comics and make us work a different set of muscles, at least for a little while. I think he said the discipline thing, I said the muscle thing. Right. And I agree with that, that it's, everybody's now very cognizant of being an act from the neck up and, production values and what works and what doesn't and subtlety and, and all that kind of stuff.
It's definitely an evolution of stand-up to a degree, and hopefully they have a cure for this what we're going through sooner than later. But for now, this as some clubs open and then close again, open and close, so or they're outdoors, and what's going to happen in the winter. So this might be the new normal, and you might be ahead of the curve on this type of thing. So I think it's important what you're doing in that regard. Plus, I think it's cool, and he got some I always mess up his last name, but you just said it, John
Fugelsang.
Who's a big comic. He's
got his own serious show, the whole 9 yards. He's a pretty big deal. John is. We got Carol Montgomery from Women of a Certain Age. We got a lot of good people.
Great show! Come on! Let's come. Are we done?
Now, one of the questions I have is as far as monetizing profits for you or for whoever's going to be running shows in the future. Have you looked into getting sponsors or how would you foresee that would work in the future to actually?
I would prefer going the sponsorship route because I don't want to. If I can avoid it, charge comics for anything, right? Yeah. And I shouldn't even say if I can avoid it. I don't want to charge comics for it.
Right.
So to participate in the festival, there's obviously stuff out there. I've taught classes cost money. I've done some private coaching. I get that costs money. There are things in this industry that cost money, but I don't think, I did Montreal back in the day. I tried out for Montreal a bunch of times before I got it. It never cost anything to try out for Montreal. Right. Now, that being said, there's probably somebody putting together a festival in Long Island who's getting upset with me right now as I say this because they're getting ready to charge everybody for it. And I understand that too. I'm not saying don't. What I'm saying is me personally, if I could avoid it, I would like to monetize it via sponsorship.
Right.
And not submission fees.
Right. Because this right now, this is like a labor of love for you right now. You put this whole thing together for the comedians to do this. It's like I said earlier, it's a big evolution step, as far as I could tell, towards this Zoom style of comedy, doing the comedy festival, live audiences. You didn't charge anyone. No one gets charged to watch it. I think everybody should tune in. You could go right in there in the Zoom, and you could potentially like meet and greet with the comic at the end, I would assume.
Yeah, let me explain to you how that's going to work, just so you know, because I put together, it's 27 shows. Are you ready for that?
Wow.
27 shows, man.
Wow, man.
Okay, so what it is a podcast. That'll be a Zoom call anyway, but a podcast format show on a different topic every day at 4 o'clock. Those 7 shows then 2 stand-up shows a night, Monday through Sunday, 7 and 9. So 4 o'clock talk format show, and then 7 and 9 stand-up shows for 7 days. That's 21 shows.
Wow.
Right now, I think it's something like 105 or 106 different comics involved. Some comics are making multiple appearances
Right.
in different places in the festival. But just like if you number the number of comics, I think I'm up to 106.
Wow.
And I'm up to 27 shows. So there's one link to get to the festival, right? And I created Zoom links, 27 different Zoom links for each show. So whatever show you want to see, whether you go to the podcasts, they're all on one page, or whether you go to the shows with the dates on them that have the 7s and the 9s on them, you just go, once you go to the festival, you find what you want to attend and you click on it at showtime. And that's it.
Right.
But yeah, I put every link, created every link already, and every link is on the overall website, which is the Blue Karma website that I sent you.
Right. And I
Yeah.
did go through it. I did see it's very well organized. All the links are there. And like you said, you just click on, you're in the show. You're there with
You're
the
in the
comic.
meeting room.
Yeah, you're in the meeting room. It's live comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's live comedy, no matter how you slice it, and it's free. And you know, yeah, you're not sitting in the smoke-filled room, as they say, but you're still there in real time with the comedian.
Yeah.
And you could be, you know, part of it. I think it's great.
And just let me give it to the folks one time just so they know. I know
Yes.
you have it in your thing, but it's called the Good Karma Comedy Festival. Good Karma Comedy Festival. And the website, and you may have to see it somewhere to be able to click on,
It will
but
be
the
right
website
below.
is called Good Comedy Festival. All 4 of those words is one word. .weebly. That's where I used to build it. .com. I should have spent a couple of bucks by a domain name. I didn't have the Weebly in there, but it's
Right.
Good Karma Comedy Festival .weebly.com. But and I'm on Facebook as Frank Vignola, Vignola comedian. So obviously, if you can't find it, I'll be able to hook you up with it. But a lot of people, and I think the comics will be promoting it too, so you should be able to find a link to it somewhere. But if you can't, Frank Vignola comedian or Good Karma Comedy Festival.weebly.com.
Excellent. Frank, you're awesome. You deserve all the good karma you can get. I think what you're
Thank
doing
you,
for
John.
comedy is great. I think what you're doing for fans of comedy is great. And I'm hoping this is a huge success for you, my friend.
Yeah, come by to a couple of the shows, please. Marla's on one of the shows. You got to at least come by the show Marla's
Yes,
on.
I'll definitely. I'm going to tune into as many as I can because I'm definitely want to support this 100% because, like I said, I think what you're doing is fantastic. So,
Thank you.
yes, sir. Frank Vignola, everybody. Thanks again, Frank.
Thanks,
Take
guys.
care.
Peace out. See everybody later. Thank you very much. Stay sane. Stay safe.
I'm Fred Stoller. Maybe you know me from Dumb and Dumber where I said get off the phone. Well, now maybe stay on the phone if you're listening to one of the greatest shows ever on the internet. Watch Put Up, Shut Up, and Stand Up on govsradio.com, Facebook Live, and Boxcast. We're on TV. All right. All right, maybe you don't have to listen to it on the phone, on a computer. You know what I meant.